Good afternoon, everybody. We have a couple of housekeeping items. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. Please take out your cell phones and silence them. Also, we're going to be live streaming this, so if you would, please turn off your Wi-Fi settings, as we have MiFis that we need to do quality of service to ensure the stream meets our virtual folks. We will start in 5 minutes. Thank you. Good afternoon, and welcome to our first Commander's Call of 2021. My name is First Lieutenant Callie Hewitt from the 452nd Air Mobility Wing Public Affairs Office. Here's our agenda for today. It is my pleasure to introduce the commander of the 452nd Air Mobility Wing, Brigadier General Melissa Coburn.
Building check. Thank you. Take your seats. Callie, you're a little shorter than me, which is a thing. Sorry. How's everybody doing? It is very, very, very good to see so many smiling faces out there, and welcome back to what looks like the new normal of the UTA, all in person. So the first thing I'll address is the mask on your face. I talked to Public Health about 2 hours ago. We're in the process of putting out a new battle staff directive, but the current battle staff directive says that if you have been fully immunized per CDC guidance, you can remove your mask indoors and out. So I would say to you all in the crowd today, you are welcome to remove your mask if you've been fully immunized, and or if you are uncomfortable, please feel like you can keep your mask on. I would also ask that anyone who is coming up to receive an award today, just for uniformity, we'll all keep our masks on for the actual award presentation and the photos, and then you can return and take it off if you've been fully immunized. Anybody have questions on that? Okay, great. So welcome to the May Combined UTA. I think we've got some folks joining us virtually as well, because we're not back to completely normal where we can get my entire wing together. I miss that. It's been almost a year and a half since I've seen everyone all together, and what a glorious wing we are. So today we're gonna actually talk about some of the things that have gone on in the past year and a half. I'll lead off today's commander's call with an announcement for those of you who haven't heard. I did announce it yesterday at the pre-UTA, but I will be leaving you guys, and my last day on the base will be 30 June. I'm excited to say that I'm actually going to the Joint Staff at NORAD Northcom, so I'll be in Colorado Springs, just a short flight away. My husband and my daughter are going to stay here in the local area because my daughter will be a senior. So I'll be back to visit, and when I come back, I won't be the wing commander anymore, so I'll be visiting and I'll be able to enjoy the visit. No laughing. And with that, I am also happy to announce that they officially announced, when they put my announcement out yesterday, they announced the inbound wing commander. So Colonel Greg Haynes will be joining us. He's currently the wing commander at Dover. Phenomenal individual. I've only known him since he was the group commander at Kelly, but he's very, very excited about coming out here, and we've been talking a lot about the wing and what he has ahead of him and the great team that he's going to be inheriting. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to the official part of the ceremony, and then Chief and I are going to have some remarks after we get through some recognition, which again, I'm very excited about the fact that we get to give recognition in person. First time in a long time. Back to you, Kel.
One day I'll be as tall as you, ma'am.
I'm so tall, Kelly.
At this time, we would like to recognize outstanding airmen from the wing. We ask all members being recognized to come to the bottom of the stage all together to receive recognition from the General and the Command Chief. After taking the group photo, please exit the stage area in an Air Force expeditious manner. In other words, go sit down. Members of the audience, please hold your applause until the end. So for the 2020 Outstanding AFRC CSS of the Year, we have the 452nd Air Mobility Wing CSS staff. For the 2020 Outstanding AFRC Airman Combat Crew Communications Member, Senior Airman Nat Joy Nguyen from the 452nd OSS. For the 2020 Outstanding AFRC Senior Non-Commissioned Officer, Master Sergeant Kalikikala L. Yugas from the 452nd OSS. For the 452nd Outstanding AFRC Honor Guard Member of the Year, Tech Sergeant Felicia Diaz from the 452nd CRS.
Just we actually, you see it says incomplete. Can you guys hear me? It says incomplete. So we have 3 other ladies that we didn't put on the slide. They're from the CRS squadron. They couldn't be here with us today. Somebody here from the CRS squadron? No? Okay, yep. Go ahead, sir. Are you the award winners? What's that? Are you one of the award winners? Yeah. Yeah, come on up. My bad, we left you off the script.
Now we would like to recognize our star performers from the wing. Recipients, please come to the bottom of the stage all at once to be recognized. After the group photo, please be seated. Master Sergeant Martin Rumanap from the 452nd OSS. Tech Sergeant Jennifer Navarro from the 336th ARS. Staff Sergeant Joshua Sherwood, 452nd MXS. Staff Sergeant Francesca Treadwell, 752nd AMXS. Major Brian Ambrose, 452nd MSG. Master Sergeant Christopher Earls, 452nd CS. Captain Keishla Bruner, 752nd MDS. Senior Airman Tisha Norris, 452nd ASTS.
But we only had 8 to say, so we couldn't do that. But nevertheless, since you know the group commander is live so I identify your commander call. So I just want to say thank you, congratulations. Most of us were in a follow-up back operation with global and Patriot Hook, West Coast Party, and staff. You can imagine all the behind the scenes of their building and even going over to the big building. So congratulations.
Congratulations on a job well done. Our next awardees are from Wing staff and are receiving recognition for an exceptional job supporting the Wing during unconventional times of service. The following individuals, please come forward to the bottom of the stage. Major Samuel Welch, JA. Tech Sergeant Ishmael Bryant, PC. Mr. Jeff Josserand. Mr. John Morris. He's worth the wait, ma'am. At this time, we're going to present our WE's first quarter award winners. Recipients, when your name is revealed on the slide, please come to the bottom of the stage to receive your award. Audience members, please hold your applause until all award winners have been announced. Make it so. Keep going. So award members, please, or recipients, please come to the board. Airman of the quarter is Senior Airman Lawrence Del Rocio. 452nd Non-Commissioned Officer of the quarter, Staff Sergeant Sam Tavayati. Senior Non-Commissioned Officer of the quarter, Master Sergeant Johanna Guayo. Company Grade Officer of the quarter, Captain Ingerbrit Salazar. Civilian Category 1 of the quarter, Patricia Picconi. Category 2 Civilian of the quarter, Antoinette Weaver. Our Category 3 Civilian of the quarter is Timothy Barola. Please welcome back to the stage General Coburn and Command Chief Master Sergeant Ortiz.
I'm inclined to just talk.
They can now.
All right, well, here we are to talk about the stuff that you guys have done. How proud I am of all of you. The Chief and I were trying to figure out what we were going to do with this commander's call, because obviously we haven't had an in-person commander's call in a while. We started talking through everything in the last year and a half, all of the accomplishments that this amazing wing has done. Can't hear me? All right, I'm gonna try to turn my mic down. We'll see. Is yours on?
I just turned it on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, kind
I
of.
can't stop crying, ma'am, since I heard the announcement earlier today or yesterday. So, well, mine's working. I just took it out of my. You good?
Yep. Can you hear me? Deb's shaking her head no. Can't hear me? I won't yell into the mic. That'd be really bad. All right, we'll go with that. Anyhow, we were trying to figure out what we were going to talk to you guys about today, and what we decided would be best, again, because we haven't met in person in a while, is to roll through some of our accomplishments in the past year and a half, and then talk about what you guys have coming up, because I think for those of you who have heard me speak at UTAs, pre-UTA meetings, this wing never stops. We never stop. There is always something going on. And we put up the telework posture picture because I am extremely proud of what we've done through COVID. It wasn't easy. I know I got a lot of feedback. Chief never hesitates to share feedback with me that he gets, that a lot of you guys didn't like the telework posture, right? We didn't like drilling that way. We had mission to do. We didn't want to be at home. We didn't want the TV squares on the screen. But that was what we had to fight through. And thanks to A6, and I saw my new comm squadron commander somewhere in the audience, there she is, and an awesome comm squadron on our base, we were able to ramp up our capabilities and at least get functional again. Because if you remember, as we drew down into COVID, so it was only last March, we were canceling things left and right. It was just flat out, hey, you can't come to training because there is no training happening on the base because we don't know what that looks like in a global pandemic. So thank you to every single person who had a piece to that. I'm looking at John Morris. John Morris figured out how to keep us all honest on our time cards, right, through COVID. It was a thing. We had to adapt and overcome and figure out what telework posture looked like. So we're back. We're not completely back. We're going to have to ease into back because the pandemic isn't gone. I'm just going to challenge each and every one of you to do what you need to do to stay ready and to stay mission focused. And as you fight to get back to what the new normal looks like, make sure that you're addressing your concerns up your chain, because there are things that Chief and I may not be aware of that you need in this new environment. Please make sure you're sharing that with your chain of command so that we get the news at the top and we can help make it happen in your workplace.
What if I don't want to come back, man? I kind of like wearing shorts for Swiss and my OCTs. So no, seriously.
Not a choice.
Yeah, we were doing something yesterday, and it's kind of hard to kind of be back in person. So we have to practice that. But at the same time, we're still going to have that posture, moving forward. I think this is Androwski. She's the AFRCDS. She stopped by, and she made a unique comment. She said that we have to learn how to lead virtually. Consider that concept, right? That's pretty impressive. That's intense. Consider that.
And so to your point, Chief, I think what we're getting at is we had to emerge and evolve that technology and that ability. Don't lose that. I get it. Like, the best thing about a UTA is always when you're leaving on Sunday afternoon and you're thinking back, well, not literally, you're thinking back about what you've accomplished that weekend. The people that you got to work with, the people that you were elbow to elbow with, fixing airplanes, flying airplanes, supporting flying airplanes, whatever that is, you're thinking about what you've accomplished that weekend. There will be times in the future, and as emerging technologies come out, that you may have to do your job from a remote location. We need to not go back to where we were. We need to keep moving forward and not lose the capability that we have. And I see my comm squadron commander shaking her head, so that's a good thing.
Man, what comes to mind real quick are the people that couldn't telework, like our firefighters, our defenders, our command posts, our air traffic controllers, and many more, right? So you have to understand how you appreciate that. I used to get off a team event, and I'd be at home, not off the driving wheel. It's pretty different when it's Christmas, Thanksgiving Day, and you're actually still here, right? So appreciate all the mission essential folks, the critical man folks.
Exactly. And again, I just can't say enough how proud I am of our wing to have fought through it, continue fighting through it. We don't know what the new normal looks like on the other side, but we'll get there. Next slide, please. So we started out kind of closing down. We figured out what it looked like to move mission in COVID, in pandemic. And then along came some vaccinations that were available to healthcare workers. I think they started December. I think my husband got shot. He got his shot in December 1st. Initially, the vaccinations weren't available through Air Force Reserve Command channels. And I, again, can't say enough about our relationship with our partners outside the fence. When they knew that we needed some mission essential vaccinations to happen on this base, they stepped up right away. It wasn't even a question to come onto the base and support us with what vaccine they could through the state of California, Riverside. Amazing. And then eventually Air Force and Air Force Reserve moved into action and started doling out vaccines to all of the bases. My medical group, amazing. The first or second clinic the pod that we opened over in the gym. So when we started, we were doing the vaccination clinics in the gym. I got to go over there and see some folks in action. And I even got to go in the back where our pharmacy techs, so no kidding, senior airmen, staff sergeants, were drawing vaccine. And they were doing it so tediously and like attention to detail. And I felt bad interrupting them, but I just had to ask. I said, aren't you guys nervous? Right? Like, aren't you nervous? Because this is a whole new thing. We've never dealt with this vaccine before. And they're like, no, ma'am, this is exactly what we're trained to do. Amazing to me, right? Because they didn't know 6 months ago that they were going to be giving COVID-19 vaccinations in my base gym. But there they were, doing it so that we could move the mission.
Now, real quick, I think, I'm not sure if you've heard me say this before, but I've been pretty fortunate in my career where I get positions where I don't do anything. So I've been a first sergeant. I didn't do anything as a first sergeant. I was the group superintendent. The largest group. But I'll tell you what, I do have a front row seat as to what's going on. And I'll tell you what, this vaccine ops started with General Colburn, just like everything else does. You should have seen her and the people managers behind the scenes counting up people that were interested in getting a vaccine, doing a lot of work to get that in place. And then, ma'am, I just want to thank you for your leadership in that whole process. And then she's there in person, talking, like you said, to the medical folks. And then Colonel Aston, Chief Wilson, I don't know where you're at.
Are you here? Hey, medical, amazing job. I mean, throughout the entire process, this is insane. So kudos to all you. Thank you. Good job.
I don't know if it's pretty loud, Chief. Oh, yeah, I have mine on. No, I'm good. I'm good. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, perfect. Next slide, please. So unfortunately, I only got to witness this from the ground. I was actually supposed to fly, but my schedule precluded that, which I'm really not very happy about. So I'm gonna let Chief talk about the flying operation. But I will tell you that when I got to go visit the flight line and our EMEDs and our kitchen, I forget what it's called, support kitchen, all of that, again, amazing capability with airmen so it was mainly airmen from McClure, Chavez, and our own March. Very motivated. Everyone I talked to, just excited to be there. I would have thought they would have been a little bit more not very happy because they were dealing with chem gear and CBRNE and all that fun stuff. But they were extremely motivated, and I didn't get to fly in it. So I'm going to let Chief, who did get to fly, talk about the operations that happened down at Camp Pendleton.
Hey, so again, I had a front row seat in the cockpit with Colonel Morrison. It was just amazing. You know, when you look at the first slide, I think it talked about our mission and our vision, right? So our mission is to train and deploy citizen airmen, right? And our vision is to be the premier air mobility wing in the command, in the Air Force. And then you narrow it down to our priorities, which our number one priority is to develop lethal and professional airmen. How does that go together, right? Lethal and professional airmen. And that's what you do. That's what you did during this exercise. I had the opportunity to hang out with the CRS squadron, Colonel Chandra, Colonel Morrison, and with the OG as well. It's just amazing that what you do. In other words, you went to a location, you set up where it's a limited environment, where it's degraded, and you establish command and control, right? And then here in the back, we have the EMS, right? EMEDs, right? Which is Expeditionary Medical Support. And then you have the ASTS and the flight line who get ready to transport the critical patients through a C-17. I mean, it's just amazing. And like General Colburn talked about, that's when you're happiest, when you're actually rolling up your sleeves and doing some work. You know, and I think it's important for us to understand that and appreciate that. I think it's a blessing when I speak to Chief Johnson from the 912th, and I ask him, "Are you guys ready?" He's assigned to the 72nd as well, and he's with a grin on his face. He's talking about his airmen, their passion, their commitment. It's amazing when I go to the flight line and I see security forces walking the line, you know, walking the red line, and one guy in one corner is about to retire. The other guy in the other corner is a senior airman who's ready to take charge. And I see Chief Willers and Chief Shiflet in the back sitting down, drinking a beer, right? So they did their job, right? They're training and developing their airmen to be successful. And then they're bringing all that information back and getting better. And ultimately, we have that continuity going on. And don't let me forget about the NSAP with Major Chaw and Colonel Gandhi. I mean, it's just amazing the behind the scenes and all the work that goes. Anyways, we need to have awareness in regards to what we're doing. We have to understand our mission set, our weapon systems, and we have to understand why we're here serving our country. Did I say too much?
No, actually, good segue into, is the next slide NSAP slide? No, okay.
That's me.
The hangar is not good for acoustics. I will touch a little bit more on NSAP. So who in the audience even knows what NSAP is? Raise your hand really high so I can see. Okay, that's a pretty good response. What we were finding is, as Chief and I would be out talking to airmen within the wing, is a lot of folks just aren't really understanding the nuclear mission that we support here, right? So the #1 Department of Defense mission that we do on this base in the National Defense Strategy, we'll just leave it at that, they just straight up didn't understand. So they know there's an exercise coming up. They know that there's going to be some people who are going to be in the corrective team, and like Chief mentioned, there's going to be security forces on the flight line, scrambling to airplanes who have to launch in a certain amount of time, and everything is all very exciting. Again, that mission had to continue through COVID, so that was a challenge in itself because that's a no-fail mission. Supporting nuclear operations, we couldn't allow that to fail. So for each and every one of you who had a part in figuring out what that looks like in COVID, thank you for what you did. So we were able to successfully make it through 2 nuclear exercises so far during the pandemic. The latest of which was the NSAV. So nuclear staff assistance visit just happened, and we were required to have that as we move into our inspection cycle. So a little bit of moving forward, but first let me just take a minute, and I don't think Major Chal or Major Gottlieb are here. No, don't see them. They're in the sim. That's an ops joke. Colonel Morrison's not laughing though. Anyhow, NSAV, we did great as a wing. That's kind of your recommendation flight, your recommendation check off in the checklist so that you can move into the inspection. And we did great as a wing, despite having functioned in pandemic operations for the previous year. We looked good. Yes, there are some things we can improve on. Yes, there are some things we will improve on. But overall, I think we were phenomenal as a wing, and now we're prepared to move into what's coming up. So the next slide, moving forward. Right, perfect. So let's talk about that. We have very large, without getting into the classified realm, very large number of folks supporting deployment cycle coming up. So we've got ops, maintenance, MSG, and then med group's always on the road, actually, all coming up in a very large deployment cycle. That's going to start kicking off this summer. And again, that all looks different than we've done it before. We haven't had to support a large deployment cycle before during a pandemic. We're trying to get new guidance out of everyone, AFRIC, Department of Defense, CENTCOM. We're trying to figure all of that out. We'll get there. But just know that this wing is getting ready to prepare to send a large number of our airmen out the door to support CENTCOM. And then on the back side of that, they're going to return home and they're going to launch right into the inspection cycle. Inspection early next spring. So let's talk about some fun stuff as we return to normal operations too.
I was just thinking, ma'am, you won't be here for that. Are you?
I won't be, nor will I be here for the fun stuff that I've been missing out on. So assuming everything returns to normal and we can continue along these paths, I would hope that we'll see a military ball. I know the military ball committee is in full swing. They're planning, they're prepping. Expect that in November, hopefully, if all goes well and everyone stays safe. And then there is an air show on the books for next May. So get through the inspection in March, move into a hopefully celebration and a no kidding open house air show in May, if all goes well. You want to talk about the business stuff? You want to talk about PT returning? So PT testing's coming back?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about PT. No, yeah, it's serious stuff, right? July 1st, we're going to come back and do fitness. And I'm not sure you saw the Facebook page from the SIMSAT. We're not going to push it back any further, right? So we have to be ready. Lieutenant Sanundan, I'm not sure if he's in here. He's the CGO council president. He kind of reminded us that it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to get in shape and about 3 to get out of shape. So understand the importance of what's coming up with that. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to the ball. I see Sergeant Griffey back there, and looking forward to the air show. And then we have Worthy Phoenix coming up in a couple weeks, right?
Beginning of June.
And then the NORI.
Wait, so who knows what Worthy Phoenix is? Again, most of you guys, nuclear exercise, we practice that mission a lot.
Yes, ma'am. So it just never ends. You kind of think that you were done in April, but then May comes up, you have a combined UTA weekend, and then we have a AFR CTS visit, and the next one we have a A6 visit, yeah, and so forth and so on. Nevertheless, I enjoy sitting here and serving with you, alongside with you, and we're gonna miss you, man. We're gonna press on. We're gonna press on. Go ahead.
I don't want to get too close to you. I don't want the feedback.
Okay.
All right. Next slide, please.
What's it?
All you, yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, wrapping it up.
Anyway, so much time do I have, man? 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll be
Just
quick.
don't leave me two. I get more than two. Come on.
No. Hey, so seriously, I just want to say thank you and five things. So I don't have any priorities for myself, but I do have 5 rules that I apply to myself. I talked about I'm doing the dismissal call end of last year, and I'll just very quick stop the noise, right? So as I move along throughout my career, you have to understand what it is that you're talking about. You have to be informed. Make sure that you read the emails, you go to the Air Force portal, you understand the AFIs. And if you don't know what you're talking about, don't say anything because it confuses people, right? So that's why I never talk. So that's one thing. Exaggerate professionalism is number 4, right? So tomorrow we're gonna have a stand down. You know, we had a conversation in regards to diversity and inclusion. You know, saying hello, thank you, go a long way. Stand up and shake somebody's hand when they walk into your office. Understand, you know, when you're talking about this, respect dignity, you know, create an environment free of any behavior that maximizes people's opportunity to succeed. Understand what that means. You know, people leave the Air Force not because of General Colbert, maybe because of me, but because they're a supervisor, right? Understand the impact that you have in retention. Rule number 3 is do your full duty from A through Z, right? As soon as you graduate ALS and you are a supervisor, it is time to roll up your sleeves and get to work. It's no longer about yourself anymore. Take yourself out of the equation and help somebody out. And I guarantee you, if you do your full duty, the rest will take care of itself. I saw that from General Hap Arnold. He had a quote. So anyways, number 2 is win the future. You know, every single day, we improve a process yesterday. How can we make it better today? You know, how can we improve our airmen today? Think about that. Understand the level of commitment that it takes to do that. We just talked about the NSAV, Worthy Phoenix, you know, Global Thunder. We talked about Patriot Hook. That's to win the future. Understand that. But I'll tell you what, win the future in your attitude, in your preparation, in your commitment, in your focus. You know, whenever you have Olympians go to a different country to compete for the United States of America, they're not all going to win the medal, the gold medal. But listen, we are the 911 for the nation, so we have to be ready to execute whenever we're called upon. Rule number 1, team is number 1. Team is number 1. We can't do this alone, right? Your faith, your friends, you, the wingman, and your family, right? In order for us to do what we do, we need to have somebody taking care of us. You have to understand the value in that. I want to acknowledge General Colbert for making me a part of her team. You know, I remember when I first walked into the door and when I actually came out from my previous assignment, she said one thing to me that I'll never forget. Chief, you have open access to whatever you need, to whenever you need me. And that just set me off. She couldn't say anything more. That's all I needed to hear, right? Because I understand the level of commitment, the level of support, the level of friendship that we're going to have. I encourage you all to have the same type of commitment with your team, especially the command teams, right? Set the example. Invite your chief, invite your first sergeant, invite those superintendents, invite the PTLs and the UHMs to your meetings. Make sure you CC them in the email. It goes a long way, please. And lastly, take care of your family. Thank them. You know, whenever you put on the uniform, they put on the uniform. It is just amazing to see that. I was just talking to Mrs. Nadrasky again, and she was saying that civilians take the same oath, right? If you look at the Hap Arnold sign, we have 5 points, and part of that is civilians. I look at Mr. Morris and Mr. Joshua, you know, they probably have deployed more than we did, you know, and they still do. So understand the value in team. Ma'am, I'll be quiet. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the team, and God bless.
Hopefully not, unless this one's not working. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So I will close up with, this is not my last UTA with the wing, so that's a good thing. I will not be here in the A UTA, so the B UTA in June will be my last one with this wing. Have to admit, got a little feeling of that emotion as Chief talks about our relationship and my teammate, my confidant, my wingman that I've had and been lucky enough to have through all of this that we've been through. We've been through a lot together. I don't know, I don't think it's not looking like I'm gonna get an actual change of command to be able to say goodbye to the wing. It hasn't been completely worked out, but I don't think the timing is going to work out to do that. So I'm going to do my best to say some remarks in several different forums, this being probably the first of that, to just say thank you. Actually, I guess yesterday at the pre-UTA meeting was probably the first, to say thank you to you all. And I am becoming rapidly aware that as I leave here, several people through it was a pretty extreme interview process to get my new job, and several people in that interview process mentioned to me that they really missed commanding operationally, and that I better enjoy every minute of it while I could. Luckily, I had some mentors say that to me before I came here, and so I have really been conscious of that, even when we were in the darkest of hours, and we've all been through some dark hours together, to make sure that I took the time to appreciate the moment, to appreciate the fact that this is it, right? This is the last time in my career I will most likely get to reach out and touch airmen and make a difference in their lives, in your lives. And I am very, very humbled by that. I'm very honored that you have let me do that. I will miss you guys terribly. And with that, I would like to ask you all to make sure you continue the good work that we have done together here at this wing. So if you've heard General Brown's new challenge to the United States Air Force, and then subsequently General Scobie's challenge to us in Air Force Reserve Command to accelerate change, and I think most of us are now at least familiar with what's going on with that and what that means to us, we have got to do that. And I liken it to, I talk to my kids a lot, so I think some of you know my family. My son is now a cadet. He was in high school when we first moved here. And my daughter is about to graduate from high school next year. We talk a lot about what that means for our nation. What does it mean to accelerate change? What does that really mean? I would challenge you all as I leave and the next wing commander comes in to think about what that means to you in your jobs. That probably means something like you are there to guide change if you're maybe slightly younger than me, up to my age. And then for my young airmen in this wing, that means you are the drivers of the change. You are the ones who are in tune with the technology. You are the ones who are in tune with social media. You are the ones who are in tune with what the nation wants and where we need to go and how we need to protect them. Don't be afraid to share that with your supervisors. And supervisors, don't be afraid to listen to that. Because that's where we're going to have to go if we're going to accelerate if we're going to make any kind of change, which is exactly what we need to do. So take the good work that we have done. I've been here almost 4 years. Obviously, I've only been your wing commander for just over 2, but we've done some really good work together. At every opportunity, community leaders, AFRIC, AMC, Headquarters Air Force, I got to brief General Brown on what we've done. I brag about this wing every chance I get. So take the good work we've done together and keep going. I told Colonel Haynes when we talked just yesterday that I've done my best to set him up for success because I'm leaving him a really, really good team. A really good team. All right, I think that's it. Before I start getting too emotional, I'm going to hop off the stage. Oh, yes. Jenny, where are you? There you are. So, speaking of good team that I've done my best to put in place, we just finally got Andrew Ramirez as our new protocol officer. We've not had a protocol officer for 14 months. Poor Tech Sergeant Brian has had to bear the brunt of that responsibility, which is a pretty heavy-duty responsibility on this base. So welcome to the team. I know you're going to do great, and hopefully I'll get to work with you pretty closely before I go. Actually, I just have another good team. Is Sergeant Idris in the audience somewhere?
Sergeant Idris, I saw him asleep back there. Are you up there? Hey, come forward, Sergeant Idris.
You're not going to get emotional on us, are you?
Here you go, man.
So Sergeant Idris is leaving us, for those of you who don't know. I'm drawing a blank where you're going.
Now that's Red Horse.
Oh, I was thinking someplace in the South. Good thing I didn't say it. So Sergeant Idris, can I just tell you again, we've been through some crap the past year and a half, right? And with that, so with pandemic comes a lot of stress on our wing. We all know that we've had to really rely heavily on our chaplain team. Poor Miss Elaine Valentine has gotten more calls than she probably needs in her life. There have been a lot of airmen in need, a lot of airmen in our wing who really, really needed to reach out. And often the phone calls that I either hear of, or my group commanders brief me on, or the group chiefs brief me on, I get a chief and I say, hey chief, we've got an airman in need, whatever that means, whether that means they're in a hospital, or whether that means they're in their homes, whatever that means, I go and tell chief, we've got an airman in need, what are we gonna do? And can I just tell you, that 99 times out of 100 this past year, he's like, let's call Sergeant Idris. So thank you for being there. Thank you for taking care of our airmen. We're gonna miss you. Yeah. All right. I think business is done.
I could be here all day, man.
I know, me too.
I saw our new chief back there, Chief Marciaga, sitting there chilling.
Woo woo!
Congratulations.
New chief, new ops chief superintendent. You're not getting the coins, Errol. You're too new. Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again,
Congratulations.
Since you came up here, just
Yeah.
there you go. There you go. I was saying, yeah, let's go. Arnita's chief.
He just wanted a picture. Don't get too close up.
Hey, I'm done, man. I'll see you later. I'll be quiet.
All right, I'm not gonna let Chief say anything else. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your it's been a very busy UTA weekend. Very busy UTA weekend. We've got people visiting. We've got, yeah, lots of stuff going on. Extremism stand down tomorrow. I look forward to those conversations. And I'm gonna say it, Sally's Alley's open. So hopefully I will see some of you guys there tonight, yes, Saturday night. Thank you guys. Thanks for taking the time. I'll see you. Thank you. Carry on. Thank you. Hot mic.
Yes, go on.
Good stuff. That's it. Take a picture of it.
couple of people in the same room. And so it was funny.
Hey, sir.
Hey guys.
Yeah, we always outsource this piece.